Okay, obviously now it is the end of an era, and I wanted to know if you're a thief. I wanted to know if you stole anything from set.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
steal something from almost every set. We have to. I feel like it's a rite of passage. I've stolen 3 books. I stole the jersey thing from the Shop for Shop Big Lebowski that we did.
Whoa!
I have that, and then I have the cast chair name thing. What did you steal? Did you steal anything?
There's a picture of Larkin and Peter that she has by her bedside. I took the frame of it
That's really cool.
because I liked the frame and I thought it would look cute in my house, but I didn't take our picture.
Right. Makes sense. That's cool. That's cool. After having so many eyes on the first 2 films, did you feel any amount of pressure going into doing the 3rd film?
I didn't really feel any pressure because I think we kind of just seamlessly went in from 2 to 3. So my kind of like body and my mind hadn't really left to All the Boys World. I think it was more about when I walked away from the film, when it was all over, I wanted to feel like I did everything that I could for it.
I also feel like, I don't know about you, but I felt very relaxed going into it. It was such a familiar world.
Yeah, all of us were very comfortable around each other.
If they had replaced me or replaced like someone in the cast and it was a different actor, like that would have been like, oh, like.
I literally just got a shiver down my leg thinking about them replacing you. I was just like, that actually sounds like a nightmare. So what do you think makes our characters, Lara Jean and Peter, so unique and different and compelling to watch?
I don't know. It's hard to say. But I remember Jenny Han was asked a similar question, and she replied that they are both such good people through and through. They're warm people. There's not any like toxic masculinity. I think that's an interesting take on it too. Is that Peter, he's a jock, but he's not a douchebag, if you will. Ignorant sometimes to Lara Jean's needs. Yeah, for sure in this movie. I think he like wants to believe something so much, and so much so that he like refuses to kind of notice that Lara Jean's feeling a different way, which is compelling. But I think it's the fact that you have these 2 kids that are young, experiencing true love for the first time and figuring it out in a very like real way. The pitfalls of the relationship. Also the highs, the romanticism behind your first love. I think Jenny Han has done an excellent job of creating a universe that is vibrant and colorful and fun, but also anchored in reality. And I think that the filmmakers that adapted her book to the series were able to do that story justice. So I think when it comes down to it, it's really Jenny Han's characters.
I like to say it's really such a blessing when you get to be a part of a project that has the pre-existing source material. You kind of have this, cheat sheet, if you will, that you can always kind of refer to. And Jenny Han's writing is very specific. She paints all these characters very well so that you kind of know what to do. And I think that, most of it has to do with the fact that she's just created such a beautiful story and she's captured young love really, really well. And I think that, Lara Jean and Peter, they are not people that ever want to hurt anyone. Like, they're good, just like you said, Noah. I think their intentions throughout all 3 of the films is that they really don't want to hurt anyone. I think that's very sweet because I think that, in relationships, of course, there's jealousies. Of course, there's things that, squeeze at your heart. But ultimately, I don't feel like they ever played, any games. I know that the first one, it's all fake and whatnot, but at the core of it, they actually started the contract because they wanted to help each other. I think the base of the relationship was simply that they want good for each other and they don't have any malice. That's why it worked.
I actually want to piggyback on that. I think a lot of it has to do with you. Obviously, you're the through line of this. Jenny Han did an incredible job setting up, the characters, but the way that you portray Lara Jean is so endearing. You're so likable. You're adorable, and I think, Lana, you have this really natural charisma to you. It's almost like you try to hide it with LJ, but it comes through so effortlessly. Outside of Jenny Han's groundwork, of course, and blueprint for the role and the description, like I think your ability to bring it to life in the way that you did, I mean, the whole movie's about you. The whole trilogy, the series, it has everything. So to not mention you.
I didn't realize this. You were gonna be so nice to me.
To not mention you as a reason as to why is kind of like missing one of the cornerstones of the entire project. So yeah, I definitely think that needs to be noted.
Thank you.
Do you think that All the Boys has done anything new to the rom-com space in the way that the audience would feel in reaction to rom-coms?
I feel like the basic equation of a rom-com kind of stays true and stands the test of time. The main difference would definitely be having the lead woman of color. I think that is maybe not what we are used to seeing. And I will say now, though, there are awesome rom-coms out and that continue to come out that are featuring, diverse casts and leading actors of color. So that's great. So I think that's the main difference in the rom-com genre. But in terms of the way that I'm hoping make people feel, I think rom-coms are supposed to make you laugh and supposed to make you cry and supposed to make you hopeful for love.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like the secret sauce. And then, you just hope you get that cast that can really pull it together and do it right, because there's a fine line in rom-coms that you really have to toe between perfect and appropriate for the genre and then also cheesy. So there's that fine line that is difficult, and I really do think that it comes down to obviously the writing and the cinematography and everything, but I think you do have to get a cast that can understand that and find that kind of sweet spot. But in terms of do I feel like it's changed, the genre? I feel like it's opened up doors for other actors of color and for producers to see that and studios to see that. But I think your general feeling when you come out of a rom-com is typically you're happy, you're sad, now you're filled with love. And I think that stands the test of time.
So All the Boys 3 has a really big theme that deals with college, moving on to the next stage of life. Do you remember kind of what it was like for you, when you were in that stage, going from high school to maybe college, or ever at that age, ever being so sure of how you thought your life was going to turn out? Do you have any sentiments that kind of align?
My path in schooling was always definitely I'm going to college. I 100%, was on that path and, did all the applications and, all of that stuff. And that really was my world. But then as a second semester senior, I was auditioning kind of in secret. And just because it's LA and I was oh, everyone's doing it. So I love to entertain people. So let me do it too. And then I got my first job on X-Men and I graduated early and just left school.
That's crazy. Your first job was X-Men. That's so insane.
I was Lana, you have 1 year to work again. You have 1 year to dedicate yourself fully and take this unconventional path. Dedicate yourself fully and try your hardest. And it's really freaking hard in Hollywood. If this 1 year, goes by and because I very much thought oh my God, am I a one-hit wonder type of person? Because it was just such a surreal experience to get that gig. And so I think in a way, parallel to Lara Jean, Lara Jean is, making the choice that she feels lights up her life and energizes her. So when she's in New York, you see her come to life, and that's undeniable. We see a new Lara Jean where she is filled with energy and filled with life, and she knows that she needs to chase that. And it's a scary choice, but that's kind of how I felt okay, I love doing this. I'm gonna try and do it. And if it doesn't work, then I'll go to college and figure out what's next.
Yeah, I stopped going to school sophomore year of high school, and I did independent studies. So my big moment, I guess, was moving to LA. And that was when I was sure that I wanted to be an actor. I looked my parents in the eyes and I said, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. So I got to get to LA. It's a great feeling when you finally are aligned with purpose, or you think you are at least, and you start acting on it. What are you going to miss most about working with me?
I'm going to miss most of how empathetic you are and how you always could sense if I was going through something. It allowed me not to always have to be on. I think you could really tell if I felt weird or needed some time or needed some space, and you always showed up and you always picked up the slack and allowed me to have a minute which I'll miss the most.
Thanks, Lana. I mean, I think what I'm gonna miss the most, Lana, is the level of comfort that we got to working with each other. We got into such a good routine. You know, there was never any sort of animosity or friction at any point between you and I, which I think is really beautiful. And sometimes you want that, I guess, for depending on the film you're doing. And for this type of movie, you definitely don't want any of that anywhere near you. And we never did. And I think it just was very seamless and effortless between you and I. And I don't know if I'll be able to find that with everyone. So I'll probably miss that a lot.